There are actually a few different songs in Windy Valley, and this is one of them. Can't remember which one this is. I don't think it's the first one. It's called The Air. This is The Air from Windy Valley, suggested by Mars in the chat. And I'm going to listen through this once for vibes, and then again to analyze what's going on here. Oh yeah, this is the end of Windy Valley. A lot of like wind chimey sounds like right off the bat. Everything is very upbeat and floaty. The guitar line, with some of like the suspended notes being like surrounded by the wind chimes and stuff, it has this sort of like floaty quality. We have an electric sitar. Crazy. The electric sitar was a weird choice for this soundtrack, but it does have this strangely tropical feel to it that they try to get across in Sonic Adventure. So the guitar line's doing a little more. The chords and everything are skipping around to like come to a resolution eventually. And then we loop back. Yeah, the bass line, the roots of everything are also really like floaty and shifty. Everything in this is everything like this feels like you're riding a breeze, which is what you do in this level. I don't think you do it in this part. I don't think you do it at the end, though. Does the end have those windy loop-de-loop things? I can't remember. I think it does. I know the beginning has them. I've never played Sonic Adventure 1 on stream, have I? I've only played Sonic Adventure 2, right? My connection is suffering right now. It may buffer. Okay, it looked like it was back. Okay, yeah, it's back. Okay, but before we break that down, let me tell you something. I don't have a sponsor for this video. My efforts are funded by generous contributions from viewers like you through Patreon. If you want to see more of this, and you want to hear more of my stuff than anybody else can right now, go to case.dog/join, or click that link up in the card and become a Moonling. That's where you get to hear my unreleased music, get access to a VIP chat in my Discord where I post the evolution of my tracks as I work on them. You can get the master stems to my 100+ songs that I've put out, and there's tiers where you can see your name in a lower third in the video, which you're about to see. Thanks for listening, and yeah, I do have blue hair now. Back to the video. So, this is very, very, very windy right off the bat. The rhythm is very shuffly, the guitar lines, the melodies are very floaty, and everything is generally upbeat. It feels like you're running on wind. They need to do a gem of just the Chow Garden. Yeah. What key is the song in? Okay, so it sounds like it sounds like this is a 5. It sounds like we're gonna be in C. Yep, okay, so we do like a little thing on that on the bass, and then go down to C for the root. Okay, so what are we doing? Okay, so we go 1 to 2. Then up to 4, and then up to a minor 6th, and then down to 1, I think. And then up to 5 for the very end of the tail section. Just to go right back to C. So that's interesting. It takes like a detour. Usually if you have something going like up like that, usually it would go down to the 5th, then resolve straight. But what it does is goes back to 1 and then back to 1. That's interesting. So right away, one thing that is interesting to me about this is it uses the undertone intervals. So like I talk a lot about like tertiary harmony, like how odds are like 1, 3, 5, and 7. But like from the harmonic series, it's like a dominant. Like these, technically in the harmonic series, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7. And then 8, right? So you would have this like, this kind of like dominant chord here. That's the overtone series, right? You can actually flip all of those intervals on their heads, and there's a different thing called the undertone series, which is the inverse of all of those intervals. And what this does is actually rises up from 1 through the undertone intervals, which are a 2nd, a 4th, and a minor 6th. That's really cool to me. And then does like a 5-1, like on top of that. That's really cool. But yeah. So already, there's something interesting about this, and thematically, I've always associated the undertones with like when you can use those intervals. It's very mysterious, but also that 4th being like the dominant like part of that is very, it's very like windy, it's very forceful, it's like something pushing against you, right? I've always sort of seen that in the intervals, right? That's just the first 20 seconds of this. I've already launched into a whole thing about music theory. All right, so when it goes into this B section here, we jump down to a major 6th, which is actually a different interval than what we jumped to before, so this may be a modulation. Ah! I see what you're doing. Ah, okay. This does another little musical meme, not one that we see too often, but one that we did see recently. It does a circle of fifths thing. It starts here, it goes up a 4th, and then goes down a 5th, and then goes up a 4th again. So it's like you're moving down a circle of 5ths, essentially. Or moving up a circle of 4ths, whichever way you want to see it. And then the first time, after it does its little circle of 5ths thing, yeah, then the first time it just steps down from here to go back to that A root for this section. Then it does the same thing. And then it jumps down further to that low, like, yeah. So then it jumps down another 5th to F from the C there, and then does a thing with a minor sixth stepping into 5. So what's interesting about this is this section starts on a major sixth, but we end by using the minor sixth. Loving the term musical meme for these common chord progressions. It's not like, okay, the Rick Astley thing is just a chord progression. The Rickroll is 100% just a chord progression. However, sus motion is not really a chord progression in and of itself. It's more of like a harmonic thing you can do within chords. The circle of fifths is like the god of music theory, of like Western music theory, right? So when people just pull something straight from like, oh, this is just walking down the circle of fifths, it's just funny to me, because it's so like, you know, that sounds like a lot going on, but when you break it down and listen to it back from like a music theory perspective, it's like, oh, that's the circle of fifths. And the way that you play down a circle of fifths or fourths, you have to be sort of, unless you want to be actually, you know, skipping down, you got to be walking back and forth, right? And so when that's like your moving root, it does give this impression of like floatiness. Ah, there's a different thing here. So we actually step the root down lower to hit a G here. Like a G, like that. Instead of just going up to 2. So now we have sort of tricked it into going to 5 instead. And then does it go to F? Yeah, then it goes to F, and then goes to that minor 6. And then I think it goes back to 1. Then goes 1, 5, 1. Okay, so okay, I think I'm getting it. So the melody in the like A section starts on 5 of our root, safe choice, common pattern. Right? And then when it switches to D, the second, the melody is also hitting a D, so it's like landed onto the root, right? And we also make sure to hit that major interval of the D chord in the melody. And then, like, this we're sort of spelling out, you can see it's an F major 7 by including that little thing. And then this has like a weird A flat 6 thing that it creates. Then we jump up to a major interval of a C. And then when we go to the 5, we have this little, or something like that. It's like a little chromatic rundown. So the melody is doing like a thing where it shifts between floating between like the different it floats and it lands with the different roots essentially. It takes off from the 501 and makes an effort to land on a safe interval of every chord that it hits, while still throwing in a little bit of chromatic stuff in between. I believe this song was also in Sonic 3D Blast. Am I wrong? Was this one of those songs from 3D Blast that was like remixed into Sonic Adventure? Yeah? Okay, yeah. I think compositionally it's all the same. This is just played on actual instruments and stuff, right? All right, what's our B section? Okay. So the melody again starts on the root of the chord what we're starting on here, which is this major 6. So one thing that I'm noticing here is this is using like a, if we are in A, it's using a very strange like, what is that? Mixolydian? It's major, but with minor 6 and 7. What mode is that? Is that a mode? And it does change this 3rd with like the chord too. So the scale of the melody is actually changing based on the chord that's underneath it, which is something that happens a lot in like jazz applications of going up and down the circle of fifths, basically. So we switch to D, and this interval's still there. And then as we go down, we actually hit a different interval, a different 3 of A, right? And then we fall into the major interval of G. And also fall into the major interval of C. We follow the root down. And we also do this thing where the melody lands on that G, that 5 of the C, so that both of them can resolve back to C, even though the melody of the melody itself actually stays on that 5. Yeah, and that's really all there is to this song, right? So, essentially we have a chord section using undertones and doing a 1-5-1 just because it kind of musically has to. And then we have a section that goes down circle of fifths. And still finds a way to bring us back to a resolution to 1, right? So, I think both of those things are cool. This is not my favorite section of Windy Valley, but I think compositionally this is interesting. More interesting, I would say. Sonic 3D Blast first level of music. I want to really quick pull up what the original song was. Yeah, listen to that. It's basically the same. Much more Sonic-y. I gotta say that Genesis bass does sound a little better. This is the air from Windy Valley from Sonic Adventure. I think if I would have to rate this, I'd start with a 4. I think this is a very windy song, and I think it's very well composed. I really like the production. I really like how it hits you. It's got this, like, band format, right? But it still throws some interesting, like, non-traditional instruments in there, like an electric sitar. And I like that. I can vibe with this. This is a very good vibe song, I would say. But I'm going to give it a 4. We're going to start out the wind themes with a 4. Thank you to Mars for suggesting the air from Windy Valley from Sonic Adventure. 4 out of 5. Wax and Gibbous. All right, how do you think I did? If you like the analysis, hit like. If you want to see more stuff like this in the future, hit subscribe and the bell to make sure you see when new videos go up. Let me know what you think. Is there anything you think I missed or glossed over? Let me know in the comments. I would love the feedback. I'll see you next time.